Okay. Today we'll discuss about the prototypes. What is a prototype? Prototype. So we have seen what is a prototype. It is basically a working model. So in order to experiment with the design before manufacturing, before going into the actual manufacturing, we usually make a working model with the existing accepted design. And what we do is we just make some experimentation on that prototype, and later on we will move to the final manufacturing side. Okay, and so we will see the needs. What are the main needs of a prototype test? First of all, we will see the need. Why we are creating a prototype? You already know why. Because in order to test it before the actual manufacturing. Okay. So this can be done by mainly trial and error methods. Many trial and error methods. Trial and error methods. Using certain trial and error methods, we make the experimentations so that the corrections may be done in the earliest stages of the design. In the earliest stages of the design itself, we can make the proper changes so that we can prevent further failures. It also helps to develop the procedures for the products to be manufactured. To develop procedures. Okay, we can develop a particular procedure how to manufacture a particular product. So we can develop a procedure according to that. Next, it helps to detect the errors while interpreting the engineering drawings. We get the engineering drawings, and from there we can detect the errors. Detect the errors in the drawing and change the design. And the fourth one, used to demonstrate the new product to the customer. Demonstrate new product. Demonstrate new product. Suppose we have to demonstrate a new product. Then the developer will have one idea in his mind. But if he starts explaining about the product, the full idea cannot be transferred to the customer, or the customer cannot get the full idea or the clear picture of the design or the working about that, unless until they provide a prototype. So if the developer is using a prototype or a working model, then he will be able to demonstrate it. This is my new product. He can demonstrate in that manner. So for demonstrating a new product, this will be helpful. That is a product prototypes. So these are the main needs of the prototype. First one, by using trial and error methods, he can experiment in the prototype or the working model. Then develop the procedures. You can develop the procedures for manufacturing. And third is the detecting errors. And fourth one, or the final one, is to demonstrate new products. Any new products you can demonstrate. Okay. So the term rapid prototyping. Rapid prototyping. ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ കുറേ ടേംസ് ഒക്കെ നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് കേൾക്കാറുള്ളതാണ് അല്ലേ? ഇപ്പം എന്താണ് റാപ്പിഡ് പ്രോട്ടോടൈപ്പിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്? whenever a physical system which is similar to one which is developed is not available for comparison. നമുക്കിപ്പോൾ കമ്പാരിസൺ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി for comparing with the actual system, if it is not available, then it will be very difficult. ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ പ്രോട്ടോടൈപ്പിംഗ് നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ കിട്ടാതെ വരുമ്പോൾ എന്താണ്, ഒരു വർക്കിംഗ് മോഡൽ വരാതിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ എന്താണ്, നമുക്കത് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പാടായിരിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ എന്താ പ്രശ്നം വരിക? ദ കസ്റ്റമർ വിൽ ഹാവ് an idea in his mind and the developer will have another idea. The developer's idea which is in his mind cannot be conveyed to the customer, or the customer's expectations cannot be conveyed to the developer. ഇപ്പോൾ കസ്റ്റമറിന് ഒരു എക്സ്പെക്റ്റേഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവും എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് വേണ്ടതെന്ന്, അത് ഡെവലപ്പറിനോട് പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഡെവലപ്പറിൻ്റെ ഐഡിയാസ് കസ്റ്റമറിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. ഇൻ സച്ച് എ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ റാപ്പിഡ് പ്രോട്ടോടൈപ്പിംഗ് ഈസ് ഡൺ. അപ്പോൾ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ബി സിമ്പിൾ ആൻഡ് ഇൻഎക്സ്പെൻസീവ് ടു പ്രൊഡ്യൂസ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കിത് കുറച്ച് സിമ്പിളുമാണ്, അതേപോലെ ഇൻഎക്സ്പെൻസീവ് ആണ്. കാരണം ഇതില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഭാവിയിൽ എന്താണ്, ഫ്യൂച്ചറിൽ എന്താണ്, കുറേ എറേഴ്സ് വരും, അതുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ഫെയിലേഴ്സും കൂടുതലായിരിക്കും. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ സോ ഹി വിൽ ബി ഏബിൾ ടു എക്സ്പെരിമെൻറ്റ് വിത്ത് ദ പ്രോട്ടോടൈപ്പ് ഫോർ accessing the functionality of the system, how much it will work, or what is the functionality of the product, how it will function, whether it will be reliable over the period of time, etc., etc. And this continuous changes, then the continuous changes will be done on the prototype based on the trial and error methods. Already discussed that is there are many trial and error methods through which the developer is experimenting on the prototype. So as a result they will continuously change the design, and this rapid prototyping which takes the virtual designs, they take the virtual designs from CAD, computer aided designs. We have many CAD softwares, we are using AutoCAD, SolidWorks, etc. like that. Using these many CAD softwares or animation softwares, modeling softwares, etc., each cross section of the product is considered, and a prototype is developed. And the reasons, now we can see the reasons for rapid prototyping, why we are using the rapid prototyping, reasons for rapid prototyping. First of all, to increase the effective communication. Increase the effective communication. Effective communication. Communication means there is a communication between the customer and developer. We have already said here. Developer is the one who develops the design, customer is the one who buys the product, right? So developer will have some idea, and this idea is to be effectively communicated to the customer, and the customer is having some expectations or requirements. Okay, this has to be easily communicated to the developer. So this communication, this should be effective. In order to make effective communication, this rapid prototyping can be used. Next, to decrease the development time. Decrease the development time. Decrease the development time by allowing the corrections to be made in the product at the early stages itself. That is, they are continuously changing the models or continuously correcting the model so that the development time or the effective time can be increased, or decrease the development time by allowing the corrections, various corrections. Next, to decrease the costly mistakes. Decrease costly mistakes. That is, by preventing the errors, or by preventing errors, we can reduce the rate of failure, so that we can reduce the cost associated with that. That's how we can decrease the costly mistakes. So these are the main reasons for a rapid prototyping. So first one is to increase the effective communication between the developer, customers, and any other communications. We can increase the or effective the make it effective. Then second is to decrease the development time by allowing the corrections to be made in the product at the earlier stages itself. And finally, to decrease the costly mistakes. Now we will see the various applications of rapid prototyping. Applications. Applications of rapid prototyping. There are various applications. Some of them are automotives, aerospace, medical field, consumer products, industries, etc. Goes on like this. These are the main things. These are not the only cases, but these are few among that. Automotives, aerospace, medical field, consumer products, industries, etc. Now we will move to the limitations. So we till now we have seen the main advantages, uses, or the reasons for the rapid prototyping. Now we will see what are the basic limitations, main limitations of rapid prototyping. Limitations. First one, this technology, rapid prototyping technology, is just a developing stage. It is in the developing stage. Not at all fully developed. It is just in a developing stage. So, and in this scenario, we are able to use only certain amount of materials, like plastic materials, proprietary plastic materials. Now only plastic materials are used. Plastic materials are used. Later on, we hope that we will get some other materials also, or other materials like metals or uh, various other alloys having good properties can be incorporated. But as of now, we are using only plastic materials. So that is one of the main limitations. Here we can use only certain plastic materials for the prototyping. Next is, this does not offer any good surface finish. Does not offer good surface finish. Surface finish. So by rapid prototyping, we are getting just a rough working model, and it lacks good surface finish. The final product, actually the final product which is manufactured will have a good surface finish by after many process like grinding, polishing, etc., etc., fine polishing. So usually the final product will be having the good quality surfaces, but by rapid prototyping, what happens is we are just getting a shape, particular shape, but the surface finish will not be as good. So what happens is the accuracy, dimensional accuracy, dimensional accuracy may change. Dimensional accuracy may change or vary, so that the exact design is not possible. So first of all, we are having we are not using the required material, only plastic materials are used. And then we said that we are having bad or not that good surface finish. So there is a problem with the dimensional accuracy also. So these all things will affect the analysis of the final product. Third one, these machines which produces the working model or the prototypes will be very costly. Costly machines. So these are the main limitations. So first one is, this is just in a developing stage, and as of now we are using only plastic materials. Later on, we may produce the certain metals or alloys, etc., which represents the actual system. Then second, we said that it does not offer any good surface finish, and it may affect the dimensional accuracy. And finally, if the machines used for this rapid prototyping is very costly. So these are all about the prototypes. Now we will see the next topic, that is value engineering. Value engineering. So by the name itself, we can say it is mainly a process. How? For improving the value. Process for improving the value. Improving the value. Process for improving the value of a product at every stages of a product life cycle. Each product is having a particular product life cycle. So throughout the life cycle, how can we improve, or how we improve the value of the product? So by that we will see what is a value, or which are the types of value of a product. So for every product there is a particular value for that. We can analyze it. So that value, how we can improve it in the later stages or throughout the stages of the lifetime or the product life cycle, how we can improve the value, different types of values, and these processes are totally termed as the value engineering. Now we will see what are the main types of values. So first one, cost value. Cost value is the value mainly associated with the cost. That is, which all thing which is related to cost of a say cost of a material, labor, etc., etc. This all comes with the cost value. So how much cost will be used for purchasing a particular material, or how much to pay for labors, etc. So these depends on the or these come under the cost value of the product. So if a value of a product or particular product is taken and the cost value of the product is high, that means the cost associated with the materials may be high, or the labor charges are high, etc., etc. Now the second one is the use value. By the name itself we can say the value associated with the usage value. That means the functionality. It is also termed as function value. So we have already told that every product is having some intended function or targeted function, functioning in the right manner. A pen is mainly intended to write. അപ്പം ഒരു പേന എന്തിനാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്? മെയിനായിട്ട് എഴുതാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ്, അല്ല പട്ടി അറിയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടല്ല. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എഴുതാൻ നന്നായിട്ട് പറ്റണം. വി ഷുഡ് ബി ഏബിൾ ടു റൈറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് with easy. So the use value is whether it can be used for the particular intended function with all easy. So this is the use value, or the depending on the function. Next is the esteem value. This mainly involves the quality and appearance. Mainly gives the importance to quality and appearance. Esteem value. If a particular product is having a particular appearance, a good appearance, then it will have some esteem value. That is mainly, for example, suppose you want a car, both in Hyundai Ion or Mercedes Benz, both car can be used, but sometimes we may choose Mercedes ones, even if the cost is high, but the luxury appearance or ease of driving, due to that things, we may use the Mercedes ones without considering the value, the cost. So these are the esteem value, that is the value which is based on the appearance or the quality. So based on the quality and appearance, there will be certain value for a product, and that is the esteem value. Fourth one, exchange value. Exchange value. Exchange value, we already know. The value associated with the exchangeability. Exchangeability, whether the product can be exchanged in future. So usually we go for Maruti than Chevrolet. Why? Because both the cars are maybe working in the same manner, having the same reliability. But the thing is, suppose after 2 or 3 years, if you want to exchange it or sell it, the Maruti products or the Maruti cars will get the value or will get the amount back. But the Chevrolet we will not be getting due to many reasons, due to the lack of servicing or the spare parts or extra anything. But there is a exchange value for the Maruti product, so people go for the products which have greater exchange value. So these are the main types of values. First one, cost value, which is mainly associated with the cost of a product, cost of the material, whether material, labor, or any other element of the cost that has been incurred to produce an item or produce a service. Second is the U. So it is the value of the functions performed. Next is the esteem value, which is dependent on the quality and appearance. And finally, the exchange value. Now, the value of any product, this is not at all depending on the performance, not just depending on the performance or the functional requirements. So what is the performance? Performance of a product, how it may perform, right? Performance. So this is a measure of the functional features and the properties of any product. That is a performance. So value just does not depends directly on the performance, but it also depends on the cost associated with that. That is, if the performance is high, then the value is high. And if the cost is becoming high, then the value reduces. So the relation we can say, by analytically we can say, value will be equal to performance plus some other requirements by cost. So the value can be increased either by increasing the utility for the same cost or by decreasing the cost for the same utility. This is the utility. Okay. Now we will see what is the value analysis. Value engineering is in. So next is the value analysis. Value analysis. So what is the value analysis? Mainly analyzing how the value is there or analysis of a value. So this is the mainly a systematic application. Systematic application. Systematic application. Systematic application of the recognized techniques. Systematic application of recognized techniques which identifies the function, of a product or service, establish a value, a monetary value for the function, give a particular value for a function, and then provides the necessary function at lowest overall cost. So this is the value analysis. So what is a value analysis? It is mainly a systematic application of the recognized techniques. Whatever the techniques are there, the application of that by how a systematic manner. That is a systematic application of these recognized techniques, which identifies the function of a product or service, then establishes a particular monetary value for that function, and then provides the necessary function reliably at lower overall cost. So at the lowest cost, how you can make it. Now we will see the objectives. So we will see the main objectives. Objectives of value engineering. So first one, the main objective is just not reducing the cost. Not just reducing the cost, but by increasing the value. That is mainly increasing the value and not just reducing cost. They are already reducing the cost, but it is not the only thing, but the main thing is increasing the value of the products or services. Second one, saves the money or increases the profit. Saves money or increases the profit. Main thing. പൈസ കുറയ്ക്കുക എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അറിയാം എന്താണ് പ്രോഫിറ്റ് കൂട്ടുക അല്ലേ. The main motto of anything is to increase the profit or save the money. Then ensure the standardization. Ensure standardization of products. How we can make the products or the operations standard or according to some basic set standards, we can ensure the standardization. Then using cheaper and better materials. Cheaper and better materials. These are the key objectives of value engineering. So first one is by increasing the value and not just reducing the cost. Then second, saving money or increasing the profit. Third one is to ensure the standardization. Fourth one, using the cheaper and better materials. Okay. So I think it is time.